today we have three students from our health campus, Department of Nutritional Sciences class with Dr. Elliott. And, each spring, we've been doing this for several years now, inviting students from Dr. Elliott's class to just share knowledge on a variety of topics, of things that they're learning as they're working to become registered dietitians, and all that great stuff that they can give to us. It can be very difficult nowadays with all the different places where we can grab information and, is it credible or not, or is it a fad, or all of those things. Everybody is an influencer and knows all the things and the best things to eat and diet and all the stuff. So it can be very difficult to kind of weed through all that stuff. So looking forward to our three students that we have today, Taylor, Cameron, and Gannon, to share with us about sustainable energy at work. So I don't know about you guys, you might hit those times where, in the afternoon, just a little bit after lunch, you kind of start getting those long blinks and maybe feeling a little fatigued. Hopefully Taylor, Cameron, and Gannon can share some tips and strategies of maybe how we can minimize those long blinks in the afternoon that some of us might encounter some days, and have really a nice, strong, sustainable energy throughout the work day, and possibly into the evening when we get back with our friends and family to finish out the day. So thank you guys so much for joining. And Taylor, Cameron, and Gannon, looking forward to what you guys have for us today.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Cameron. I'm with my classmates, Taylor and Gannon. And as she mentioned, today we're going to be talking about how to maintain sustainable energy at work. So we're going to be going over three key things. The first is going to be going over the new healthy eating plate from Harvard and how to incorporate that into your daily lives. And then next, we'll dive into why staying hydrated is so important and a key part of feeling and performing your best. And then last, we're going to be talking about the importance of incorporating movement even during a busy day. But first, we want to start with just a quick little icebreaker question. If everyone could just scan this QR code and it allow you to type in your response. Once you submit your response, you should be able to view the results and see what everyone enjoys as their favorite snack.
Cookies. Cookies are good.
What else do we have?
We have granola bar, apples, blueberries, cheese.
All great choices for snacks.
Really good answers. Oh my goodness, we have so many more. Pretzels, chocolate, mixed nuts, mini charcuterie. That sounds gum. Popcorn, peanuts, strawberries, trail mix, Greek yogurt with berries. No bake cookies. Really, really great answers.
All great choices.
Yes. Okay. So everyone's just going to wrap up their answers. I'm going to move us into the next portion of our talk. Okay, so I'm going to kick us off this morning with the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate. The Harvard Healthy Eating Plate was published by the Harvard School of Public Health. This model was created to serve as an evidence-based visual guide to help individuals like yourself and I create a well-balanced, nutritious, and high-quality meal. It takes our standard plate and it displays proper portion sizes for each food group, placing emphasis on whole grains, healthy proteins, fruits, vegetables, even healthy oils. And it also puts emphasis on the importance of physical activity and water along with that, to get you through your day. So some of you may ask, why would we follow the healthy eating plate? How can following a model like this benefit yourself in the long run? Well, let me tell you, By following the healthy eating plate, we are able to provide a steady and sustainable energy, support our long-term health. We are able to improve our overall digestive health, enhance mental clarity and mood, encouraging sustainable eating habits, and just simplifying those everyday healthy decision making. So if you're still not convinced, let me further break it down for you and explain how each portion of your plate can make a change. So the first group that we're going to start off with is our whole grains. This should take up about a quarter of your plate. Whole grains contain carbohydrates, which also provide glucose. This is our brain's primary source of fuel. It contains fiber, which helps our bodies slow down our digestion. It'll help us feel fuller for longer, and it'll help us stabilize our blood sugar. These whole grains contain a variety of our B vitamins. Some of these will be thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and folate, and these are really essential good vitamins for our everyday energy metabolism. So by incorporating whole grains into your meals at work, this can help you with your rapid spikes and crashes, and it can also improve sustained mental clarity, keeping your brain fueled. So some good examples of some whole grains that you can include into your meals is brown rice, wild rice, oats, oatmeal, wheat products such as wheat bread, wheat pasta, wheat berries, quinoa, and barley. So the next portion of our plate is going to be our healthy proteins. Healthy proteins, this should take up about a quarter of your plate. They are what help us increase our satiety and also help with blood sugar control. It promotes healthy muscle turnover and repair, and it also helps regulate all your enzymes and hormones as they serve as their primary building block. By adding healthy proteins to your everyday meals, you are able to prevent those mid-morning, mid-afternoon hungers, allowing you to stay focused on your daily tasks. So good examples of some healthy proteins is chicken breast. This can be in many forms, baked, roasted, grilled. We try to avoid fried chicken, turkey, pork loin, fish, shellfish, or if you're vegetarian or even if you're not, we have lentils and beans, chickpeas, tofu, even Greek yogurt. So no matter your dietary preferences or your restrictions, there are many healthy proteins that will help you fill up your plate. So the next one is fruits. Also should take up a quarter of your plate. Fruits are a fantastic source of natural carbohydrates, which give your brain a quick source of energy. They also are a fantastic source of fiber, which helps prevent those blood sugar spikes by slowing down your digestion. Fruits are packed with phytonutrients, which help protect your cells. They boost your immune function and provide protection against chronic disease. And they also provide lots of antioxidant properties, which will also contribute to the overall protection of your cells. So by adding fruits into your diet, you will be able to maintain a steady energy boost while reducing your overall sugar cravings and intake. They also contribute to a small part of your overall hydration as they serve about 75 to 90%, or they're made up of 75 to 95% water, depending on the fruit. However, it is really important to remember that this doesn't replace water, but more just gives your cells a really great hydration boost. So some good options would be bananas, strawberries, oranges, blueberries, cherries, blackberries, peaches, grapes, plums. The list goes on. There's so many really great vitamin-rich fruits that you can add to your diet that will contribute to just everyday health. Everyone's favorite is going to be vegetables. This should also take up about a quarter of your plate. Vegetables are very rich in vitamins and minerals. Vitamins specifically will be A, C, K, and then folate and potassium. They are also rich in antioxidants, and they're packed with fiber to allow your digestive tract to slow down, and it'll keep you satiated for much longer. By adding vegetables, you can help support a strong and happy immune system with the provided antioxidants. And then you can also reduce your overall risk of chronic disease. And then they also give your meals really great volumes so that you can consume more vegetables without those heavy calories that contribute to your everyday workday fatigue. Some good examples of some vegetables is going to be broccoli, carrots, spinach, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, asparagus, beets, and bell peppers. These are just a handful of options, but just like fruits, there is an array of vegetables that you can add. And last but certainly not least is going to be our healthy oils. It's really great to keep in mind that these should be used in moderation. I would say probably about 1 to 2 teaspoons per meal per the Harvard Healthy Eating Plate. These are not something to be scared of, I promise, as they provide really key fatty acids for our body. They promote fat-soluble vitamin absorption for vitamins A, D, E, and K. They help us carry those fat-soluble vitamins into our bloodstream so that they can proceed with further function. These also can help hormonal balances as they are the foundation for our hormones production. And then finally, they can help your body regulate those bad cholesterol levels. So by using healthy oils in your food, we can improve our cognitive function, our heart health, and we can increase our meal satisfaction. Some examples of some healthy oils is going to be olive oil, specifically extra virgin olive oil, canola oil, avocado oil, peanut oil, and sunflower oil. Just want to remind everybody that this should be used in moderation, but they're really good for our body, just about 1 to 2 teaspoons per meal, and you're good. So now that you have a better idea of what your plate can look like, here are just some quick little tips that can make these changes much easier. So the first one is to at least add 1 fruit or vegetable to your lunch and or dinner. Whether it's adding a side salad, adding vegetables to your sandwich or your burger, or even bringing a side of fruit can really make a big improvement overall. The second one is going to be upgrading your grain, making those simple switches from, regular products to whole grain or whole wheat products. This can be making the switch from white bread to whole wheat or whole grain bread. This can look like switching from white rice to brown rice or even quinoa, or even just switching your regular pasta to whole wheat pasta. Another tip is going to be pairing your carbs with proteins. This can look like pairing apples with peanut butter. It can look like eating toast with eggs, adding berries to your Greek yogurt. Shout out to who put that on the survey. It's a really, really good snack. Or even eating pretzels with hummus. These can give your snacks and or meals much more sustenance. The next one is going to be keeping healthy snack options in your office just as a safety net if you do experience that mid-morning, mid-afternoon hunger. I promise this happens or can happen to everyone, and it's not a bad thing. However, it's really important to make sure that we just have those healthy options on hand just to allow yourself to be able to stick to those healthier eating patterns and give you really good energy during your workday. Some examples of these snacks can be nuts. It can be fruit, peanut butter crackers, which takes us back to the third one of pairing your carbs with protein. These are just a few examples, but you are most definitely not limited to just these options. The best part about sustained eating is that there's a lot of room for creativity. The fifth one is going to be keeping your plate colorful. This I find very helpful, and it's a really great rule of thumb. Trying to shoot for about 2 to 3 different colors on your plate and just focusing on a variety of fruits and vegetables, since this is where you're going to get most of your color from. This could look like roasted broccoli and carrots with some strawberries. That's already 3. Or it can look like asparagus and cauliflower with peaches. That's also 3. And then, incorporating all of that on your plate with your healthy proteins and your whole grains. That's about 4 to 5 colors on your plate, which is fantastic. And then the last rule is going to be the half plate rule. Half of your plate should be fruits and veggies, and the other half of your plate can be healthy protein and whole grains. However, sometimes your plate can be half veggies or even half fruit. Sometimes, I find it hard to incorporate veggies into my breakfast. So you can just make half of your plate fruits. Or if you may find it challenging to include fruits in your dinner, then half your plate can be veggies. So I really hope that this breakdown of the healthy eating plate can really help you find ways to make those little changes in your everyday eating. I'd also want to do a quick survey again. And I just want to see what group of the healthy eating plate do you want to focus more on? I'll give y'all about a minute. Okay. Vegetables seems to be a popular answer. So is protein. Really great answers. Yep.
All right, so we'll move on to our next chunk of information. So first I want to go over a very important question. Why do we think hydration is so important? So the first key point I want to talk about is water as a foundation for daily energy. Water isn't just good for you, it's a working molecule involved in nearly every step of how our body functions. Water is a medium for key metabolic reactions. Almost all of our energy-producing pathways in our bodies occur in water-containing environments. And our mitochondria rely heavily on water to maintain proper gradients to create energy for our body. Water also acts as a transport system, carrying essential nutrients around our body to provide energy to our cells. When we eat, water dissolves the incoming nutrients from food and then carries them throughout the bloodstream for use. When we're dehydrated, our blood volume decreases and it slows this nutrient transport. Staying hydrated also helps our body regulate its temperature so everything can function efficiently. Water also can improve cognitive function and mental performance. Research has shown that even small amounts of dehydration, only about 1 to 2%, can affect things like our focus, concentration, short-term memory, reaction time, and decision-making. This can result in things like having to reread the same email over and over again just to understand what your coworker is trying to say. It can also result in things like feeling slower or losing focus faster in meetings. Our brain is about 75% water, so proper hydration allows the ions to move throughout the brain and properly transmit signals between neurons. Another reason water is so important is that it helps regulate our hunger and thirst signals. Our brain's signal pathways for hunger and thirst overlap, so this means that thirst is often misinterpreted as hunger. This can lead to things like overeating or unnecessary snacking throughout the day. When we're not improving the dehydration with water, it creates this harmful cycle to keep eating and the signal is never turned off because it is not properly addressed. One tip is if you start to feel hungry, drink some water and wait and then reassess your hunger. So moving on, I'm going to talk about how to recognize dehydration. Most people often wake up already dehydrated due to several factors, including overnight fluid losses, having caffeine in the morning over water, or sometimes we're just in such a rush in the morning that we forget to even take a sip of water. This means that we're already starting our day at a mental disadvantage. Some signs you want to look out for to tell if you're dehydrated include dry mouth, dark urine, dizziness, fatigue, irritability, and headaches. Many of these signs are easy to dismiss as stress, a heavy workload, or a lack of sleep, so it is super important to know what to look out for. There are several common reasons that we get dehydrated. One is having long meetings where we forget to drink. It is also really common to drink a lot of caffeine in the morning without replacing water. Coffee is great for alertness, but is also a diuretic, so it increases fluid losses. This means it's very important to pair it with some water. It is easy to become dehydrated if you're only drinking when you're thirsty. The cue for thirst is a late signal from the brain, so waiting for that signal means that you're already behind. There are several environmental factors that contribute to dehydration as well. Did you know that heated and air-conditioned buildings can actually increase fluid losses without you even noticing? Another simple but easy thing to do is forgetting to bring a water bottle around. Having a water bottle in front of us gives us that visual cue to drink instead of waiting for the brain to send us that signal of thirst. There are a few quick self-checks you can implement into your daily routine to ensure that you're staying hydrated. One check is checking the color of your urine. If it is dark yellow or cloudy, take a drink. The second is checking for fogginess. If you catch yourself not being able to focus while doing a task, take a few sips of water. The third check I have for you is if you start to feel hungry after you just ate. As I mentioned, we often misinterpret the signal for thirst as hunger, so grab a glass before you grab a snack. Moving on, how do we prevent this from happening, and how do we use water to optimize our mental performance throughout our workday? There's a lot of different water recommendations out there that I'm sure everyone has heard of, including drinking 8 cups a day, a pint per pound, half your body weight in ounces, 2 to 3 liters per day, etc. But hydration looks different for every person. It depends on age, weight, sex, environment, activity level, and much more. The most important thing to remember is to keep a steady intake throughout the day and to implement some of the self-checks I mentioned earlier. I want to walk through 6 simple strategies that you could implement into your day to improve water consumption and maintain proper hydration. The first is keeping a water bottle visible and in reach at all times. Again, this will really help trigger us to drink water without needing that cue from the brain that we're thirsty. Also, using a reusable water bottle is cost-effective and environmentally friendly. There's tons of water bottles out on the market, so choose the one you like best and add it into your routine. Another strategy is to pair drinking with routine tasks. This might be like drinking a few sips of water before every class or meeting, or having a break after sending emails to take a few sips of water. Having a routine will make it easier to remember to drink and have a consistent, steady intake. All of these small moments add up throughout the day without feeling forced to drink a lot at once. You can also add things to your water to make it more appealing and drinkable. You can add lemon, lime, orange, mint, or there's even a few zero sugar powder add-ins that can add flavor without adding calories. I know we all like our sodas and juices, but drinking water doesn't have to be boring. Another helpful tip is to balance our caffeine with water. Sometimes the only thing that gets us out of the bed in the morning is the thought of coffee or an energy drink. One thing to try and implement is having at least a sip of water before you have any caffeine, obviously trying to aim for a bit more though. Waiting a bit to drink coffee after you wake up can also sometimes make it more effective. Or one thing you can try to implement is having a glass of water for every cup of coffee that you have throughout your day. Another thing to keep in mind is implementing refill strategies. Refill your water in between meetings or classes so that you're not stranded when you're thirsty. The last tip I have to maintain proper hydration is to eat foods with high water content. This is a great way to implement hydration while also having a snack, and it can also help with satiety. Some examples of high water foods include cucumbers, celery, watermelon, strawberries, zucchini, and many more. So now that I just walked through 6 simple ways to stay hydrated throughout your day, move on and think about your routine. Which of these tips do you think would be the easiest first step for you to implement? Making water more appealing, that's a great strategy. We have some more coming in. Drinking electrolytes first in the morning. Yep, that'll keep you very hydrated throughout the day and also make your water more appealing. That seems to be a pretty popular answer. All great choices to get started.
All right. Hello, everyone. Now time for everyone's favorite topic, movement. So today I'm going to talk about something simple, accessible, and incredibly powerful. How adding small amounts of movement to our workday can dramatically improve how we feel, think, and function. So to start off, talking about some of the benefits of adding movement throughout your workday. The most immediate effect of moving more throughout the day is the impact it has on our brains. We often think of exercise and movement as something we do just for our bodies, but the moment we start moving, your brain gets a boost too. And research shows that even a single bout of physical activity can improve our cognition and brain function right away. So for us in a work setting, this is very beneficial because it enhances cognitive control processes that we use every day. So things like inhibition, working memory, and cognitive flexibility. So basically, that means you get better at focusing on tasks, ignoring distractions, and adapting when new projects are thrown your way. And this directly influences your ability to set and achieve your work-related goals. And the benefits don't stop there. In the short term, moving your body is a proven way to reduce feelings of anxiety, to sharpen your memory. And if you've ever felt that, mental fog in the afternoon, a quick bout of movement is a powerful way to alleviate that feeling. And I'll talk about why that is in the next slide. But over the long term, these benefits of movement compound, and people who are consistently active have a significantly lower risk of developing, things like depression. They also sleep better. And then as we age, this is very beneficial because keeping active helps your thinking, learning, and judgment skills sharp, and protect your brain for years to come. So the case for moving more is strong, but what does that movement actually look like? Let's get into the details of that. So we know we should move, but when, how, and for how long? So recent study that I found looked into the simple act of walking after eating. And they compared three different scenarios, doing nothing after eating, doing a 30-minute walk half an hour after eating, and then doing a 10-minute walk right away after eating. And the results were pretty striking. The 10-minute walk was just as effective as the 30-minute walk, outlowering the total amount of sugar in your bloodstream over the next 2 hours after eating. But interestingly, only the 10-minute walk, which was done right after eating, was able to lower your peak blood sugar. And this is very impactful, and this matters for you because that post-meal spike is what leads to, those energy crashes you feel after. So you may eat your lunch, you initially feel that surge of energy, but then maybe a half hour or a couple hours later, you're fighting off that fatigue and brain fog. And obviously in a work setting, we don't want this to happen. We want to stay mentally sharp. So by moving, taking a short walk immediately after eating, you slow down that glucose absorption. And this is done by your muscles. When you walk, they move and then they act as a sponge to soak up that blood sugar. And so the results of this are more stable energy throughout your afternoon and not getting those huge peaks and valleys. Now, some of you may be thinking, my schedule doesn't allot for, a 30-minute walk or anything like that, or maybe I'm not very fit. The beauty of this intervention is that it's only 10 minutes. It could be even less, honestly. I recently heard one of my professors say that even 2 minutes can reduce this peak blood sugar level. And you can do it at a light, easy pace. It's low impact on your joints. And you don't need to have like a super high cardiovascular capacity or be like insanely fit, you know. So most people can probably do it. Um, and when you do this consistently, you don't just manage your blood sugar for that one day, but when you do it consistently, you're contributing to better long-term health markers. So things like your A1C, which correlate with things like diabetes and heart disease. And then just one note on this, like I was stating earlier, don't get like overly neurotic about this and think that you always have to walk after you eat or something. It's just a tool that you can try out if your schedule allows for it. You know, maybe don't just immediately keep sitting at your desk after eating a lunch, you know, walk around, do something real quick. So yeah. And then next, you may be thinking, you know, isn't it uncomfortable to walk right after I eat? Won't it upset my stomach? The research I looked into actually says the opposite. So that same study saw that the participants reported no stomach upset and from walking immediately after eating. So for most people, it should be fine. But actually, on the other hand, this actually can improve our digestion. So if you think of your digestive tract as sort of a conveyor belt that needs a little nudge to keep things moving, that walk can act as that nudge. So it basically will stimulate the musculature in your stomach and help push that food throughout your system. So and then another study I looked into measured this by listening to bowel sounds after a 20-minute walk after eating. And they found that the gut movement increased significantly after walking after eating. So, and this was caused by, like I was saying earlier, that mechanical movement from your stomach and then that will stimulate the reflexes in your gut. And then, you know, after you stop that movement, your parasympathetic nervous system, which is known as the rest and digest system, becomes more active, which will then promote that healthy digestion. So the practical outcome of moving more after eating is that, you know, it'll help keep that food moving throughout your stomach and colon, which will lower your chance of constipation. Um, so not only does, you know, post-meal walking or moving keep those energy levels stable throughout the rest of your day, but keeps your digestive system running smoothly, which, you know, you can view that as a win-win. So to wrap up, take home message, you just need a little bit of movement after eating. It's simple, low exertion. It can sharpen your mind, improve your digestion. And then you're also investing in your long-term health by doing this consistently. So it's one of the most powerful things you can do to, you know, improve your energy and well-being. So yeah, thanks. And then, so the survey I have is, how are you going to incorporate more movement into your workday? Try different things out. May not be starting right away with that 10-minute walk, but just trying different little things. So, you know, keep your energy. Let's see. It may take a while for this one. It's not as easy. Short walk after lunch. Yeah, walking after meals. Nice. More cardio at the gym. It's a good one. Uh, let's see. Yeah, taking a break, going on walks. Okay, body weight squats every 4 hours. Nice. It's pretty ambitious.
It's good.
Yeah. Nice. All right, this is some good ideas.
All right, so before we wrap things up, there's just a few take-home reminders that just we really want you to take away before we end this. So first, for the healthy eating plate portion, just want to remind y'all that a quarter of your plate should be whole grains, just for steady energy and mental clarity. A quarter of your plate can be healthy protein to stay full and focused. And then we want to make sure that half our plate is fruits and veggies for fiber, vitamins, antioxidants, and then really emphasize using healthy fats in moderation, 1 to 2 teaspoons per meal for brain and heart health.
And then also remembering that hydration matters. So water is used to boost our energy and focus, and it can be used to regulate our hunger throughout the day. So we're limiting that unnecessary snacking. And to know the signs of dehydration that I stated, and implementing some of those self-checks throughout the day so you're staying steady and consistent. And then on that note, also sipping throughout the day, not waiting for that late signal that you're thirsty and staying on top of it.
And then finally, moving more at work. So taking short walks after meals to regulate your blood sugar, which obviously, like I said, will improve that digestion, your mental performance, and you're investing in your long-term health. And yeah. So now we'll take any questions you guys have. I already see one in the chat. Which I can answer because it pertains to my thing, but does stationary bike after meals work as well as walking? So I'm not gonna say for certain that I know, but I would assume that since you're working your muscles and just not sitting down and doing nothing, that you're going to get that glucose absorption into the cells because um it's not like walking is the exact intervention. It's mostly just more so like moving in general. So yeah.
Good question.
Any other questions? All right, we got another one.
So the question is, any tips for neurodivergent kids who like beige foods and pasta to incorporate more balance? I love this question. I'm so glad you asked. Something that I really like is, you know, those beige foods like pasta is totally okay. What I find helpful to incorporate more veggies or even protein into simple foods like pasta is, blending veggies into your sauces. Those go really undetectable, especially with kids. And like I personally love putting cottage cheese in sauces for pastas. It really boosts protein. And then also just reminding yourself that it's okay for your kids to eat beige foods. We learned in our life cycle course that picky eaters is totally fine. It's more important that your kids are just eating in general. Hopefully that helps.
We got another question about movement. I heard that walks before meals gets your body ramped up to process food better. Is that true? Well, yes, this will be true because you're putting your body in a more insulin sensitive state, and insulin is the hormone that helps uptake that glucose into the cells. So it's similar to if you just did any type of exercise, resistance training or walking or biking. You're just putting your body in a state to efficiently uptake that glucose and use it. So yes, that is true. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for your questions and feedback. We have one more question.
What are some of the best? Okay, so the question is, what are some of the best ways to incorporate healthy oils into my meals? Also a really good question. Um, I find that it's best to incorporate healthy oils into your cooking. So, if you're cooking your like chicken or steak, adding olive oil. If you're cooking your vegetables, I like to roast my vegetables and I just toss them in some olive oil, and just simple things like that can incorporate those healthy oils into your meals.
Um, One more question we have is, do protein shakes count as a meal? So this can be very nuanced depending on what type of protein shake we're talking about. If you're referring to like ready to drink protein shakes like a Fairlife or something that have minimal calories and it's mostly just protein, um, I would still count it as a like meal source, but if you're referring to how much it will have impact on your blood sugar, so like that glycemic index, it's going to be lower because it's mostly protein and it's low in calories. So it's not really going to spike your blood sugar that much. So, I'm assuming that um, you're thinking that you have to walk after a protein shake. Like it's not going to be that big a deal. So.
One tip, if you want a protein shake or something like that as a meal, if you're making it yourself or you have the time, adding those fruits in and maybe other nutrients as well, that'll help increase the calories and maybe balance it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I've come across, like people to be careful. Sometimes it's a protein shake, sometimes it's a meal replacement shake, and kind of knowing or being familiar, looking at the label to identify the differences between them, because I think some things have tried to pass themselves off as one and they're really the other. So just being mindful, even on those things, to still look at the nutrition label as well of what the breakdown is.
Yeah, that's a good point because I know some are high in fiber, some high in sugar. So just, checking that nutrition label, see what you're getting.
Any last questions?
So, well, yeah, I'll just go ahead and reiterate what everyone's saying in the chat, that thank you, great information, great job. I imagine we'll have an uptick now after lunch of everyone going on short walks together, which would be fantastic. So thank you guys for, these different strategies we can implement right now. And yes, I'll follow up with attendees with the slides so you guys can refer back to them as well. And everyone have a wonderful afternoon.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.